Now, when Ramaphosa took power in the middle of February, I think it was about the 15th of Feb, in fact, he vowed to crack down on corruption. Now, let's find out if he's making any progress. Let's get an overriding sense from David Lewis from Corruption Watch. Mr. Lewis, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us on our Newsday program. You heard my colleague, a short while ago, Samgele Masego, saying, mentioning the very first thing he mentioned is that the sense that the media is getting out of the anti-corruption drive that Ramaphosa has been busy with. And nobody's under any illusion that it's a long process. But in your sense, an overriding view from you, in this first 100 days, how is he doing as he's trying to unravel that whole corruption that seems to be so endemic in societies, particularly our state institutions?
Yeah, I think he's doing rather well, actually. I mean, the first thing he did was get rid of Zuma, which, I mean, that was a big step forward. I think that, some of his cabinet changes were impressive, and I think those are fairly obvious. I mean, there's some disappointments, obviously, but that's okay. And then there's the determination to clean out SARS is important, and the state-owned enterprise work that Pravin Gordhan has done is equally so and equally decisive. I mean, it's a lot. It is, as you say, a long haul to cleaning out some of those institutions which have been very severely damaged.
Yes, and of course, now finally this week, or was it yesterday, we are hearing now from the Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo about the state capture inquiry that finally is going to get going. We're expecting an interim report by August, a final report by the end of November.
Really? I doubt it very, very, very much. In fact, I heard Zondo to be saying yesterday that he wants to take he needs to take at least 18 months to deliver this report, and I think that that's right. I mean, I think that what we need to do on the corruption front urgently is to work out what happened and how we can stop it from happening again. And I think, oddly, there are two institutions that I think really need to be given attention to. One of the set of criminal justice institutions, the Hawks, the NPA, and there's some good progress in the policing institutions as well. A very good appointment to the Hawks yesterday. He's got to deal with the leadership of the NPA very quickly. And then Parliament. These are the two principal public institutions of accountability, the criminal justice institutions and the Parliament.
What about the Chapter 9 institutions?
The Chapter 9 institutions as well. I mean, the Chapter 9 institutions held us in very good stead during the Zuma days. The Auditor General's office is still a well-run, powerful office whose powers, if anything, need to be enhanced. The Public Protector has been a bit of a disaster. But he'll get to those. I feel reasonably confident.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, and we all agree, it's not going to take a short time to get to the bottom of it. But you mentioned the Auditor General, and just earlier this week we heard him talk about the financial mess that we are seeing in terms of irregular and wasteful expenditure in local municipalities. We interviewed the General Secretary of the Municipal Workers Union, SAMU, yesterday, Mr. Simon Mate, on Morning News today here on ENSA, and he was saying they noticed that there's a lot of that wasteful and irregular expenditure, but there's no consequence.
Yeah. And I think the Auditor General is on record as being very frustrated by that. The Auditor General makes findings, and then the accounting officers are meant to carry it out. So much so that the Auditor General, there's presently a bill before Parliament in which the Auditor General is asking effectively for enforcement powers. But, really it should be the state attorney, it should be the justice institutions who are seeking retribution for accounting officers who don't do what they're meant to be doing. And we really need to do that urgently.
I'm not meaning to put you on the spot, but one of the stories we're tracking this afternoon is what's happening in Durban. Apparently, the Auditor General's office in KwaZulu-Natal, the auditors have been withdrawn. There's been some death threats to them. How would you respond to that?
Oh, it's outrageous. I mean, if I were the Hawks, I would prioritize that situation in Durban almost above anything else. I mean, people who do that kind of thing, who obviously in the municipality, I mean, need to be tracked down and thrown into prison and the keys thrown away. I mean, it is absolutely outrageous that anybody thinks that they can call up the Auditor General and threaten to kill him or his staff if they continue demanding what it is they're entitled to demand. It's absolutely outrageous.
Yes. We are running a poll with our viewers this morning in terms of Ramaphosa's first 100 days. We'll be announcing the result just before 4 o'clock. But before you go, you know, in South Africa, we like to mark people. We give them a scorecard or a report card. Out of 10, after 100 days, your view, Mr. Lewis, Ramaphosa out of 10?
I'm not going to go there. I think on the anti-corruption and the governance front, given that it's only 100 days, I think he's doing well. I think he's doing nearly very well.